Pressing record now. Okay, so welcome to Introduction to Jyotish. We're going to look at the syllabus together and see what we're going to cover today. First thing we're going to cover is just the definition of Jyotish and what it has to do with Ayurveda. You know, back in the day, the Ayurvedic practitioner in India was a Jyotish and the yogi, so there was never any separation. So Jyotish is a medical system, and it's a holistic medical system, so it's body, mind, spirit. So the Jyotish could also feel the pulse and give herbal recommendations. Oh, hi, Susie. How are you, Susie? Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Thank you. So, yeah, the Jyotish could do it all, basically. It was the Vaidya was the Ayurvedic physician who was also trained in the science of the stars, or as you see in this definition, is the Lord of Light, or the science of God. And really, you wouldn't get an Ayurvedic consultation without a Vaidya looking at your chart. Dr. Ladd looked at my chart when he gave me my physical assessment at the Ayurvedic Institute. He took my pulse and looked at my tongue, and he did all the diagnostics that you do to the physical body, and he asked me about my relationships, and then he told me I can't eat popcorn. I'll never forget that. I was traumatized because that's my favorite food, so I guess he could feel that in my pulse, and that was the worst food for me. And then he looked at my chart and he told me, well, I would lose function of my thyroid in this lifetime, and I had already lost the function of my thyroid. I had to have it radiated because I had Graves' disease. So I was really in awe of how accurate the Jyotish chart was for him, that he could see one of my organs, my glands was dead. And he also saw some other things that were really profound. So this to me is my new passion. It's really amazing. It's a real navigation tool for life, for the roadmap of your life. And it doesn't necessarily take away free will. So it's not like we're all destined to do a certain thing. It sort of awakens your consciousness so you can make more aware choices. And it's like, we predict the weather. And if we see a storm coming, we bring an umbrella, or we stay in the house and stock the refrigerator up with the right food. So the same thing with Jyotish. If you look ahead, you can see potential experiences that are coming to you, and then to prepare yourself for them. But more importantly, the predictive aspect of Jyotish is a whole separate thing, and you don't even have to get involved with that to have the benefits of Jyotish. What I find really helpful is learning about myself. I've learned about myself through looking at my chart. My Jyotish chart told me about my personality and how I fit into this culture, what my gifts and my challenges were, what my karmas were in a past life, and what I've come to learn, and what gifts I've come to share with the world. It's been an affirmation of my life. So you kind of know all these things, and then you question, and when you see something on paper that verifies what you already know in your heart, there's so much power to that. It just gives you so much more security and confidence to go forward in your life in every choice that you make, knowing that, oh, okay, I wrote for that. This is who I am in relationship to this, and this is why I'm this way. Or it really helps to understand yourself, and then to understand other people in your life. Like me understanding my mother, oh my gosh, it was amazing to look at her chart, and then to realize that all the things that I had to work on with forgiveness around her was really that's just how she is. That was how she was born, and I didn't take it personally anymore. We have to stop taking things personally, as part of the 4 agreements. This Jyotish education helped me to not take anything personal anymore, because as soon as you look at someone's chart, you begin to have this great understanding and appreciation of who they really are, and that's just their dharma, or that's their soul's purpose, or whatever. That's what they came in for. That's what they're here for. And no one's doing anything to us, really. We're never victims, and it helps us to get out of victim mentality when you can open in someone else's Jyotish and understand what their gifts are, what their challenges are, and where you fit in their chart. Even I can see where my mother, represented by the moon, fits in my chart. I can see where I fit into my daughter's chart, because I'm the moon in her chart, and where it sits helps me to understand how she sees me, not necessarily how I am, but how she sees me, because the Jyotish charts are actually our astral bodies, our consciousness. So if they're our consciousness, then it has nothing to do with anybody else. It's just self-referral, all about the self, and it's peeking into somebody's astral body. So how my daughter would see me as her mother has really nothing to do with how I see myself as her mother. Does that make sense? Is everybody with me? Yeah? Okay, because I thought I was a pretty good mom, but I can see in her chart she has a lot of difficulty with the moon, which is mother. So no matter what I do, there's going to be challenges with the way she sees me. And there was a lot of relief and, I just sort of let go and surrendered in that and continue to do my best. But with that surrender, it's really giving me peace of mind. So I want to teach you guys how to be able to do that. So let's look at your chart. Pull your charts out, and we're going to talk about the three main things in a birth chart. And the first thing are houses, and that Sanskrit word is bhava. And the houses don't move. They're static, they're immutable, and they're always, you can see them outside of your chart. Do you see, if you look at the perimeter of your chart, it will say first house, second house, third house. Is everybody with me on that? I'm going to pull up, I'm going to pull up Tammy's chart. Let me see. So Tammy, I've got your chart, and I see the first house right above your ascendant where Jupiter sits. Do you see that first house? It says H for house, and then it gives a number. Okay, so that first house, that is in the middle smack dab of the chart, sort of upward. And then you move to the left because the charts move counterclockwise. So move to the left is the second house and the third house, and it goes all the way around in a counterclockwise motion till you get to the 12th house. So these houses are really significant and have meaning, and I'll talk about those meanings soon. So let's look
and
at...
I guess I have no job because I have nothing in the 10th house.
No. So I'm glad you said that.
Nothing in the 10 box.
Okay, so that 10 box is, check it out. What house is that 10 box?
Seventh.
The seventh house of relationship. So that's marriage, relationship, partnership, and that's not your 10th house of career. Go up a little more to the counterclockwise. You see 8th house, 9th house, and then that 10th house you have Rahu. You see RA?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do have something in the 10th house. You have Rahu. And you have K2 and Mercury in the 4th house, which aspects the 10th house. So you're very busy with your career, and I'll talk to you more about that another time. But you definitely have career stuff going on. Interesting. Very. The nodes of the moon will give you a very non-mainstream. Can't get that word out. Non-mainstream career. So and you kind of do that stuff anyways, non-mainstream stuff. So that's sort of that's accurate. That's accurate, I would say, for you. Right. So now we're moving into zodiac constellations, the Rashis. And that's what everybody knows, Aries, Pisces, Virgo. Those are the signs. And then we have planets, the grahas. And there's 9 planets. There's really 8, but if you count Rahu and Ketu as 2, there's 9. So, does anyone have any questions about that? No? Okay. Moving on. Now, somebody asked me a question about, well, what sign am I? This system uses the sidereal zodiac, so it's not the Western tropical zodiac. And it's something about the precession of the equinox that changes, where it's a little bit more accurate and a different ayanamsa, which is the time that it sits on. So it's about 25 kilometers off the Western. So if you're, say, like for me, I'm Sagittarius in Western, but I am considered Aries in Jyotish, and that's not my sun sign, because in Western they look at your sun sign and they call you your sun sign. And I can see anyone's sun sign here, but it's 25 kilometers off. So my sun sign in Jyotish is go backwards 1 month, and that's Scorpio. But they don't call me Scorpio. They call me Aries because it's my lagna, which is my ascendant. So that means when I was born, Aries was on the ascendant, and that ascendant changes every 2 hours, which is why it's so important to get your birth time of day really correct. Can everybody see their ascendant? It's the first house where it says AS.
Yes.
Yeah, anyone not see it? Because I'll try to help you if you don't see it.
I don't see it. It's Renee.
Renee, okay, let me pull yours up. Do I have yours? Oh, I don't have it.
Is my sixth house.
Do you see where it says first house at the top of your chart? It says first H dot, actually dot, H dot. Do you see that, Renee? Maybe you don't have it. What chart do you have? Do you have one that I gave you last year? Let me see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Show it to me and I'll tell you what. Okay, so I think I saw 5. Hold it still. I can't see it quite. Is 6? I think I see 6 in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
If Renee speaks, it can maximize her screen to make it take up the whole picture.
Oh, if I speak? Hello, how are you doing?
Oh, turn it, move it up a little, move it up.
Is that better?
Up a little more, up to the sky,
more?
up to the sky, higher up.
Oh, to the sky. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
There you
Okay,
go.
yeah, so 6, see that number 6 with the AS in the top? That is your ascendant. So does everybody know what the numbers stand for?
I don't.
Okay, let me review. Kim, do you know? Do you want to tell everybody what that is? I can do it. I'm going to pull it out. It's easier.
It's based on the order of the signs. So it starts with Aries is 1, Taurus is 2, Gemini is 3, Cancer is 4, right?
Yeah.
Leo is 5, Virgo is 6.
Yeah, she's a Virgo. Yeah.
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 And then Virgo. There's some Libra. Libra is 7.
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio is 8. 9 is Sagittarius. Capricorn is 10. Aquarius is 11. And Pisces is 12. What do I win?
Kim, I knew you would know that stuff. I'm so impressed. Does everybody know what they are? What their rising sign is now? If you see that number where we saw Renee had 6?
Yep.
Yeah? Can I ask everybody's ascendant then? Let me start with Valerie.
Okay. Yep. If I'm reading it correctly, it's a 5. Does it matter if it's red or black?
Doesn't matter. Nope.
Okay.
Does it say
So
AS in your house? It says AS.
It has AS and then 18:29, and then down at the bottom of that diamond is a 5.
Okay, so you're a Leo ascendant, or Leo rising, and that's what we would call you in Jyotish. A Leo would describe your personality. It would be most descriptive of you. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It's hard to
I guess I need to research what Leo is, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I had to as well. I was so shocked they told me I was Aries. I had been so Sagittarian my whole life. And then I read more about it. What's that?
Yeah, I never thought I was a Sagittarian. I never really felt that I fit the Sagittarian.
Okay, interesting. Well, yeah, you got to let me know what you think of Leo.
Yeah.
You're fiery. You're fire sign. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what is your ascendant?
I am a Gemini. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. So you're number 3 in the first house, right?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So let me go back to Val. Valerie, that you were a Leo, which gives you the sun as lord of your chart, because Leo rules the sun. Or the sun rules Leo, I should say. The sun rules Leo. The sun is the lord of your chart, really. The sun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Abby, you're welcome. And Abby, yours is Gemini, so Mercury would be the lord of your chart. Yes. And moving on to Kimberly, you already know the lord of your chart, right, Kim?
Yeah, Mercury for Virgo.
Mercury, you're Virgo too. That's right. I forgot. And Cynthia, did you find your Lagna, your ascendant?
Yes, mine is 11, which is Aquarius.
Yes, it's Aquarius. That means Saturn is Lord of your chart. Let me look a little further. Who else is here? Jerry, do you have your chart, Jerry? I don't know that I sent you a chart. Oh, Jerry's saying hello to me privately. Okay, well, I'll do your chart. Oh, your computer's acting up. Okay, I'll send you another. We'll do charts later together, okay? And then Susie, what is your ascendant? Oh, you're muted, Susan.
Gemini, then.
So you're Gemini, you're a Mercury, Lord of your chart as well. Okay, good. Everyone seems to be understanding this. Heidi, what did you get for a Lagna, the ascendant?
Well, so next to the AS, I have 843, and then in the bottom corner is a number 1.
You're Aries.
Is that what we're
Yeah, so
Aries.
you're Aries ascendant. Mars is Lord of your chart. Mars. Okay, and mine too. So we're both Aries. And then Andy, what did you get for a Lagna?
I am an Aries as well.
You're Aries as well. So Mars is Lord of your chart. And Renee, you already gave me yours, right?
Virgo.
Virgo, that's right. And Tammy, what was yours?
Cancer.
Cancer. So Moon is the Lord of your chart. Did I miss anyone? No. Okay. Oh, did we do Cynthia? I think we did. Okay, so remember to unmute. Did I do you, Cynthia?
Karen.
Yeah?
Karen,
Yeah.
this is Amber. I just wanted to know what Sagittarius is ruled by.
I don't see you on my screen. I'm so sorry I missed you. Why aren't you? Sagittarius?
I'm iPhone user.
Let me see if I can find you.
If you go, Karen,
Yeah.
if you click on participants, where it says participants 13, click on that, and then go down to where it says iPhone. You see that under Heidi?
I see manage participants.
Yep, click that.
Okay, I see everybody here much better. Okay, thank you.
Where it says iPhone, you can click that. You have the option to rename that, so you can type Amber's name in there, so you'll know it's her.
How come I don't see iPhone? I don't see iPhone. Oh, I see iPhone. Okay, so I could put Amber's name in there. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, just click rename, and you can name her.
Okay, let me do that.
Give me a fabulous name if you're going to rename me.
I just don't know how to do that right now. It just it just came into the chat group. So let me. Well, I don't know how to do that. I'm not going to worry about it. So Amber, your Jupiter is Lord of your chart. Your Sagittarius rising. Jupiter. So is there anyone else that I missed? Valerie, Tammy, Susan, Kim, Jerry, Amber, Heidi, Cynthia, Shalyn. Oh, Shalyn, did you get your chart? I don't know if you're with us, Shalyn. Can you hear us? Oh, I see you. Okay, yeah. So Shalyn, unmute yourself.
Hi there.
Hi. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. I'm sorry I joined late. I just got the email.
That's okay. No worries. Did you get your chart?
I have my chart actually on the fridge, so I can go grab that.
Okay, we're looking at rising signs. So I sent you one.
Okay.
No, I didn't send you one actually, but I'm glad you have one on your fridge. Go get that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on. Now that we know what our Lagna is, which is the rising sign, this is awesome. Now we're going to learn a little bit about Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. I've been having so much fun with this new information. I just took a workshop on it, and I'm just so amazed at how much you can tell about somebody by counting out how many points they have in each of these 4 fields of living, 4 aims of life. You can tell so much about your own self, and it really helps as far as compatibility with a partner. So, you don't want to be married to somebody who's completely, has no points in moksha or 0 points in kama, and you have 5 in that area. You want to have some compatibility where the points are fairly similar. So let's do that together, how we can figure that out. And let's first discover what does all of it mean. So open up your handout to the 4 aims of life. Does everybody have your handout?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So everyone knows a bit about Dharma. It's kind of, a little more complicated. If you read this, it gives you more detail on really what Dharma is. And you want to know about this because if you have a lot in Dharma, and I had most of my points in Dharma, I wanted to read this over and over to really understand this is why we come to the planet. If we have, like my sister had sort of scattered, peppered evenly these points, so she was very, middle of the road, which also helped me understand her better. But when you have really extreme amount of points in one, that means that you really came to this life for that, mostly for that thing, for whatever it is that you have those points in. So let's read through this and let's understand ourselves better. So Dharma, this can best be understood as our life purpose. It is that which upholds, sustains, and does not define the object that is being upheld, sustained, or uplifted. It does not imply any specific object, living or inanimate. Somebody needs to unmute themselves. Let me see if I can do that. I hear some noise. So, Cynthia, I'm going to mute you. And Abby, I'm going to mute you. And anyone else that's making noise, mute. Let's see, everyone else is muted. Tammy, I'm going to mute you. But when you want to ask a question, just unmute yourself and feel free to ask a question. Okay, I think now we'll have everything be a little bit more quiet in the background. Which reminds me about Shalin. Did you find your chart, Shalin?
I did, but it's done as the drawing, so I don't understand the symbols at all.
Okay, hold it up close. Let me see. Oh, I see. You have a 7 and a 1. Okay, so you're also a Aries rising, Aries ascendant. See that 1 in the first house in the middle upper? So we're like,
yeah,
that's Aries. So that means your Mars is Lord of your chart.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna mute you, but feel free to unmute. Oh, you already did that. Good. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to Dharma and read about Dharma. So it represents a principle or quality of being that can be widely used in a variety of contexts to mean a variety of different ideas. The earliest import of the word Dharma arises from the ancient Vedic idea of Ritam, which is cosmic order. The entire universe is sustained by cosmic order, consisting of physical laws that govern the motion of stars, suns, planets, satellites, asteroids, and other physical bodies. So is everyone with me on this? So you have this opened. I'm not going to bore you by reading the whole thing, but I want to make sure everybody knows where I'm reading from so you can access this later. So just raise your hand if you don't have this, because this is a really important thing we're going to do today. So, oh, you didn't get one, Shalin? Okay, Kim, could you email Shalin this, the 4 aims of life?
Was Shalin on that list for the invites? Or did you send the invite to Shalin?
Oh, you know what? I forwarded her the invite. Okay, I can do it. Let me just do it real quick. So I don't lose
Shalin,
you.
they're all attached. They're all attached to the invite. So unless you didn't tell the forward to contain the invites, but if you private message me your email address, I can send it.
I see them here, and I'm sorry about interrupting.
No worries. I just sent it to you with no subject, and I CC'd Kim on it in case she needs your email. Okay, so let's find out how many points we have in each, and I'll teach you how to do that. So pull out your charts. This is so much fun. I've been doing this just for hobby. The last week I've done like 20 people counting their points out, and just, wow, I just can't believe. It helps me understand where I fit with all my, peeps, all the people that are important to me, and I'm sort of a black sheep, and I understand why now, because I have so many points in Dharma and Moksha and hardly any in Artha and Kama, where my daughter has a lot in Kama. And so it's really interesting to understand your family members and yourself and how they see you and how you see yourself. So we'll look at our charts. I'm going to pull up Tammy. Can I use you again, Tammy? I got Tammy's chart. And what we want to do is take a piece of paper, well, take your chart with a pen or a pencil so you can mark this down. And, or you could even pull it out. I don't know if I sent this to you. Hold on one second. Just give me a second. I had it somewhere here. I'm going to have to memorize this. I thought I had this all written out, but I didn't. So let's put the word moksha in the 9th house. Do you see the number 9? Put moksha in the 9th house. And then moksha again in the 12th house, that word moksha in the 12th. And again, put it in the 4th house. So those are your 3 moksha houses. And then let's put the word kama, K-A-M-A, in the 3rd house and the 7th house and the 11th house. And let's put fire. Fire will be in the 12th house. Oh, sorry, no, that's not. I'm reading your chart, Tammy, and that's your 12th sign. Then, sorry, back up. You know what? Give me a second. Let me go get that piece of paper.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everybody knows where their 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th houses are, as opposed to the number of the planet or the number of the sign. Because if they put, like, for example, Renee and I have 6 in our 1st house. I want to make sure they're not putting it where the numbers are, because the numbers represent the sign.
Yeah, do you mean like the little triangles or in the actual outside part?
Hold on one second. I mean in the inside, no, on the outside part. So the periphery. Remember we discussed this in the beginning? We talked about how to find your houses, and they were all listed in the periphery, and they're immutable. They all have, number 1 will be at the top. Number 2 will be on counterclockwise going left. That's your 2nd house, and then going down, that's your 3rd house. So don't read the numbers. Don't get confused about those little numbers in the corners of your triangles or your diamonds. Just look at the outside periphery for these houses. And I'm gonna pull something from the other room. So just give me a second.
Hey, Kim.
Yeah? Who said that? Someone called me.
Kim. It's Amber. It's
Hi,
Amber.
Hi.
Is number 1 Aries?
Yes.
Not for everyone. Yes. Oh, of the signs, yes. That is
In the triangles, I have a number 1, and it seems like everything lives in number 1. So I was wondering if that was the Aries.
yes. But
Okay,
it's not
thank you.
necessarily the 1st house. You understand the difference between the?
It looks like it's my 5th house and part of my 4th.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, here it is, I think. I'm just going to go on memory on this. Okay, so we have comma in those 3 houses. I'm going to review it again. We have the 3rd house is comma, the 7th house is comma, and the 11th house is comma. The 12th house was moksha, the 9th house was moksha, and the 4th house was moksha. And then we have fire, which is dharma. Now let me just remember this. Hold on, we have comma, we have water, fire. These all have earth. The fifth house is Dharma. Oh, you know what? I'm not making this up. I have to do this. I can't believe I can't find this. I've had this with me all week doing everybody's charts. Just give me a second.
Kimberly, are you there?
Somebody call me?
Yes, Kim, this is Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, sweetheart. Just wanted to clarify now, I understand that the houses don't change going around, but as we're putting in the karma, the moksha, and the rest of the stuff, are we starting with our ascendant and counting from there? Ascendant is 1?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sweetie.
So we're really not going in any order right now as far as the way that the houses are. I'm just giving you random placements. Like when I said moksha was in 9 and 12 and it's in 4. So if you just go right to those houses and write in moksha, and then look at the 5th house and write in dharma, and in the 1st house write dharma, and in, hold on, 1, 2, oh, back up. See, this is why I'm glad I have this chart out. The 9th house is dharma, so take out moksha of the 9th house and put in dharma, and the 8th house is moksha. And then go to your 10th house and put in the word artha, A-R-T-H-A, artha, and go to the 6th house and put the word artha, and then the 2nd house, put in the word artha. I think we covered all the houses. Is that correct? Did I miss any of the houses? I'll review it again. So we have the 1st house as dharma. The 2nd house, we're going to go in order now. 2nd house is artha. The 3rd house is kama. The 4th house is moksha. The 5th house is dharma. 6th house is artha. 7th house is kama. The 8th house is moksha. The 9th house is dharma. The 10th house is artha, and the 11th house is kama, and the 12th house is moksha. Now I'm going to stop there and just ask everybody if you're with me, because I want you to count your planets in each house and get your points. And anyone have questions so far about that? No? So everyone has written those words in their houses? Okay, I'm going to assume that's a yes. So let's find out how many points you have in dharma. So look at your dharma houses and count how many planets are in your dharma houses. So I'm going to do Tammy's. Tammy, your dharma houses. Remember, the dharma houses are 6, 1, and 9. So Tammy, you have 3. 3 points in dharma. So write that down.
I have 5th. Wait, I have the 1st, the 5th, and the 9th.
Right. We have the 5th house instead of the 6th.
Okay. So sorry. For 5th house is dharma. Did I say something differently? Yeah. Okay. So 5th house is dharma. Sorry if I said something wrong. It's definitely the 5th house is dharma. So you have 3 planets in dharma, Tammy. Just so you know, you have 2 in the 5th house and 1 in the 1st house. Do you see that?
Yeah, I have, so Jupiter, Venus, what do I have? Wait, tell me.
You have Jupiter, Sun, and Venus. You have, so in the 1st house you have Jupiter, and in the 5th house, you have Sun and Venus. So that gives you 3 points. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I'll do Amber, just so you know. Amber, you have, oh my gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's amazing. You have 5 points in Dharma.
What does that mean?
All in your 5th house. Dharma is really important to you. You came here to do some serious business. You're here to work and do your life purpose is really important to you. The reason you came here for whatever work you do, the healing arts, it is extremely important to you. So good to know that about yourself, because when you meet, a mate or your friends or your family, and they ask you, what are you, a workaholic, or why are you so consumed with your job, or why are you can understand that you wrote for this. This is who you are. You really put a lot of credibility and importance on your life purpose. So that's really amazing. You have 5 in there. Okay, does everybody understand what I'm doing so far? I don't want to lose anyone. Raise your hand if you want me to look at yours because you're confused.
I'm Cynthia. I'm very confused. I'm not really sure what I'm looking at.
Okay, Cynthia, let me look at yours. So we're looking at your 1st house, which doesn't have anything. The 5th house is empty, and the 9th house has Rahu. So you have 1 point in Dharma. 1 point in Dharma. So write that down, because we're going to count up the other ones. Anyone else have a question? Okay, so let's go to Arta. Let's count how many we have in the 6th house, the 10th house, and the 2nd house. How many planets are in there? And Amber, I'm going to look at yours. You have 1 in Arta. So Arta, really, it's about material things and your possessions, and I'd like to see that in men who are householders and they want to provide for their family. You'd like to be with a man who has at least 1 point in Arta, hopefully more than that, because they care to provide for you. And so they care about the physical things like a roof over your head and car and a job and these things that bring meaning to our life and bring purpose on a material level. It also means, I don't know, it can even be as important as a dog and a white picket fence, and people have whatever's important to you. If it's material and you have 1 point, at least you have 1 point that, you'll want a car at least. But those people who have 4 points will want much more than a car. Does that make sense? You can look at renunciates or monks and nuns, and they won't have much in as far as Arta. So let's count out Kama. Kama means desire. And that is the 3rd house, the 7th house, and the 11th house. So this is about desire, the arts, beauty, Venusian things, pleasure, relationships, sex, play, all the fun things in life, music. If you have a lot of points in Kama, then these things are very important to you. So let's count that out. I'll look at yours, Amber. So you have 2 points in Kama, Amber. Did you follow me on that?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, good. So put down 2 points in Kama. Anyone else lost on that I can help you with? Abby, do you get it? Abby, did you get that?
Yes, I got it.
You got
Yeah,
it?
I got it all.
Oh, good. And Michelle, it looks like you're all set. You figured it out. So everybody's figured out so far Dharma, Arta, and Kama. So let's look at moksha. Susie, did you get it? Susan?
Yes, I think so.
You think so?
Plain along. Yeah. Is it possible that you could put a chart up that we could look at and you could point it out?
I want to do that, but I was told not to screen share because it would break up the recording and it would turn into mayhem. I wouldn't be able to put the recording together.
We don't want mayhem.
No mayhem.
Right.
I'll actually,
if I get stuck, I'll let you know.
okay, I have a chart here. This is my mother. Oh, you can see, we'll just do my mother. So you want to do an example chart so you can see what I'm doing?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, let's move the screen so I can see if you can see this. Is that legible for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so my mother has in Dharma. Let's look at Dharma. Hold on. Here's Dharma. Here's Dharma. Here's Dharma. So she really doesn't care much about Dharma. See, there's no planets in these houses. The first house, the fifth house, and the ninth house. And quite honestly, she's always been really embarrassed about that. And she, has thought of like one-liners at cocktail parties when people ask her what she does. She likes to think something up because she's been a housewife and she's always married a rich husband. So she hasn't really done any kind of real job, but she was a great mom. So, but Dharma is not so important to her. So let's look at Artha, which would be in the sixth house, first house, and 10th house. So 1, 2, 3, right? She's got 3 planets in the 10th house. So she has 3 points in Artha.
Karen, wouldn't it be 6, 10, and 2?
Wait a minute, 6? Oh, yes, you're right. Sorry, thank you for that.
Because they always make a triangle, right?
Yeah, they do. Good you noticed that. I figured that out too. There's a pattern here. It's just kind of challenging to show you without having you be in person. But maybe I could show you. It kind of goes like this. It points this way. So the earth element goes here to here to here. So she has 3 points in earth, which is the same thing as Artha. These all have elements associated with them. So let's look at Kama, which is the air element, and that is the 3rd house, the 7th house, and the 11th house. The 3rd, 7th, and 11th. So she has Moon, Venus, and Mercury. That's 3. She has 3 points in Kama, which means that pleasure, relationships, play, beauty, arts, music, sex, just the enjoyment of life is very important to her, that she enjoys life. And let's look at Moksha with her, which is the 8th house, the 4th house. Oh, no, is that right? Yeah, Moksha, and the 12th house. So it goes like this with Moksha in this direction. And she has 3 in Moksha. 1, 2, 3.
Karen, could you remind me what the element for moksha was?
Moksha,
fire?
No, it's water. So I'll review that right now, actually. So this is really the whole thing. Can you see that? The elements that go to the houses. Mm-hmm. So we have Dharma, which is fire. We have Artha, which is earth. We have Kama, which is air, and we have Moksha, which is fire.
Wait, could you say that again? Air is Kama.
Air is Kama. Moksha is fire. Dharma. Oh, wait a minute. Moksha isn't Kama. I'm sorry. Moksha is water. Sorry, Dharma is fire. I'm so sorry, I'm messing up today. Fire is Dharma, and Moksha is water. Does everybody have this?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
What's Artha again?
Artha, that's earth, and it's right here. Artha is earth.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So does anyone want to review or share? What can I ask? Maybe Michelle?
I have a question.
Oh. You have a question? Tammy, did you have a question?
No, it was me. It was Kim.
Oh,
the
Kim,
10th,
yeah.
like,
Oh, go ahead, Tammy.
I'm sorry, my 10th
Oh,
So what does that mean? Like,
I muted you by accident. I thought Kim was speaking. So what was your question?
my 10th house is like right in the center, and so is that like Ra? I don't.
Rahu, yeah, Ra is Rahu. That's a planet, that word. It's a node of the moon. So you have one planet in the 10th house.
Okay, so it's not just because it's in the middle, it's directly across.
It's, well, I don't know, but it is middle, but it's sort of right middle, and that would be the 10th house, and that would mean earth. So you have Arta in that house. That's the house of Arta, of material things, what brings meaning to you, house, possessions, job, like that. Okay, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Anyone else have a question?
Yes, Karen, it's Kim. Hi.
Hi.
I was just noticing that mine are pretty evenly because there are 9 different planets.
Yeah.
And mine, I have 2 in every category except for 3 in Arta. So I just wonder, like, what that means to have it so spread out and so
my
even.
sister had that too. Yeah. It's that you're very balanced. That you've come here to live a very balanced life. Everything, all the fields of living for you have meaning, are important to you. So you're not sort of. I'm a bit imbalanced. I like 4 in Dharma and 4 in Moksha. So, no wonder people call me a workaholic. But with you, you're very, family is important, your job is important, your health, and all these things, all the fields of living are equal importance to you. You came here to live a balanced life, not necessarily extreme in any way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that actually fits me quite well. So.
Yeah, I think it does. Knowing you, you are a very balanced person. Good mom. You really take your job seriously. You're pretty balanced, and kapha too. So that's also balanced. So, anyone else have a question? Anyone want to share what they got?
I think I did it right. Can I share it just to find out if I understood where the houses were?
Yeah, let me see who's talking.
Oh, Cynthia.
Cynthia, let me look. Where are you, Cynthia? Okay, there you are. Do I have your chart? Yes, I do. I have your chart. So go ahead and ask the question while I look at your chart.
So in Dharma, I have 1, which is RA. In Artha, I have 4, VEMARA and SA.
Okay, let me write this down. Hold on so I can keep track with you. Okay.
I'm not sure if I understand where the houses are.
Okay, well, let me just do this one for you so that you can understand what I'm doing. So we're going to look at Dharma first, and Dharma is your fire, right? So you have 1 in your 9th house, and nothing in your 1st and nothing in your 5th. So put down number 1 for fire, for Dharma. And then we go into Arta, which is the earth element, and that is in your 6th, 10th, and 2nd. And in your 6th, you have Saturn, just 1, nothing in the 10th, and 2 in the 2nd. So that's 3 points then. You have the Saturn, Venus, and Mars. Saturn's in your 6th, Venus and Mars are in your 2nd. So put down 3 points in Arta. And now we're going to look at Kama, which is your air element, and that is in your 3rd house, which you have 3 planets. You have Ketu, Moon, and Mercury. And then you have nothing in the 7th and nothing in the 11th. So 3 points in Kama. And then for Moksha, you have, let's see, 8 and 4 and 12. So you have 2 points in the 4th. So you have 2 planets, Sun and Jupiter. Does that make sense?
You know what I think I'm having a problem with? Understanding. I know the houses go counterclockwise, but in this grid, I'm having a hard time understanding how you know which is which in the grid.
Okay, let's see if I can.
I don't understand how to read it.
Okay, so you see this chart? This is my mom's chart, right? You see right here, this is the 1st house, but you see it says right here, 1st house right above it. And then this one, it says 2nd house right above it. And then third house, it says right here. So don't just ignore these numbers. These numbers are your signs. This is Aries. This is Taurus. So just ignore that. This is.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Is this my chart? Who is this? Oh, this is Doug. This is not my mother. This is my ex-husband. Okay. Then we have the fourth house, which is right here. Then we have the fifth house. We have the sixth house. The seventh house is right here. See, it says the number 7 right down here. That map point's right up there. This is the 8th house.
Oh, okay, I see.
9th house, yeah. And he has
right, now I understand. I wasn't understanding how you can get into the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like how to read in the center of the grid to understand which house it coincided with.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So that first house would coincide with this, and that's the ascendant. And then this is the second house, no planets. And he actually has a natural chart. They call it Aries charts, a natural chart, where the first house is where the first sign is. So if we had like a Gemini chart, there'd be a 3 here instead and a 4 here, and it would go like that. But he has a, sort of a natural organic chart, so that might mess you up a little. Just ignore that. Ignore these numbers in the middle here. Just go with these outer numbers, and then every outer number go inward from that, and that, like this 10th house owns this diamond, this 11th house owns this little triangle, this 12th house owns this triangle, the first house owns this big diamond. That make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah, you're welcome. Then you can just count the planets as we go. Michelle, would you share what you have, how many points you have?
I have. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. In the Dharma, I have no points. In the Arta, I have 3 points. In the Kama, I have 4. And then the how do you say moksha?
Moksha.
How do you say?
Moksha.
Moksha, I have 2 points.
2 points. Cool. Now, does that seem to fit you? Does it fit you?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what the last one means. The moksha.
Moksha.
What does that mean?
Well, let's review that for everybody. Let's look at that. Do you have your handout where the 4 aims of life is one of the attachments in the email? We can look at moksha as a transcendented. It's a transcend. Can't get that word out. Transcendent. I wanted to say transcendental. It's a transcendent state, and it's about liberation, freedom of the soul, freedom from. Oh, there's somebody got some noise here. Let me mute yourself if you haven't muted yourself. Let me see. Everybody's muted. Yeah. Okay. So this is about liberation. Liberation from illusion and Maya, and liberation from what's not real. So people who have a lot of points in moksha really just are here to release illusion and fear and not have to be reborn again to, do the whole thing over again and learn lessons. It's about self-realization, self-actualization, emancipation, release, and all that. So people who would represent moksha would be like Mother Teresa, name some people who, saints, people who, great ascended masters, Maharishi, even Dr. Lad. I bet he has a lot of points in moksha. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question, Michelle?
Yeah, sorry, I was unmuted. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does your chart seem to fit you now that you know what moksha means?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to look at it over, but
yeah,
I think
you take some time. I had to do the same. I had to really read what the meanings of each was, Kama, moksha, Dharma, and then count my planets out and really figure out, is this really me? And it really was. Yeah.
So, Karen, do I have 4 in moksha?
Let me look. Tammy. Hold on. You're here somewhere. Why isn't it coming up? Hold on. Tammy.
I just want to make sure I have it right.
I keep clicking on your chart, but it's not jumping into my screen, and I must have pushed it somewhere. Hold on.
Maybe it's at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, here it is at the bottom. Okay, so Moksha, you want to know how many you have in moksha? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the 8th house, the 4th house, and the 12th house. So you have 4.
Yeah.
4. That's like me in moksha. So Moon, Ketu, Mercury, and Saturn.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's so important to understand yourself this way, and then you just can't judge anybody, because I used to judge my daughter. She's quite a Venusian. She's one of those that just feed me grapes. I just want to lay here. I just want to sing and eat and dance and have pleasure. And here I am, you know, a maniac working my butt off. I don't know how to lay on the couch and have someone feed me grapes. And when I looked at her chart, she has so many points in comma that it makes total sense. So I can't judge that she's that way. She came to this planet. She wrote for it. That is her personality, and that's what she chose. So there's no judgment. It's just, okay. So she came to, you know, be Venusian, which is, you know, all about the senses, pleasure, sensuality, beauty, the feel-goods of life. And so she's actually an esthetician and a hairdresser, a massage therapist. So she's right where she needs to be, with a lot of comma, a lot of pleasure. So that is interesting if you can get your friends and family's chart to see where you fit in their lives and to understand them better. So there's never any judgment, and there's so much more understanding. Life is really about understanding. If you can understand yourself and everybody, you really have mastered. You're halfway there. So any questions? We'll move on from the 4 aims of life.
I have one question. When we were figuring out our rising sign, which is the number at the, you know, bottom corner of the diamond, right?
Yeah, it's at the top of the bottom corner. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So since there's a number in every diamond, does that mean that we have like one astrological sign per house? Or?
So here's an example. This is a hard example because it's a natural chart, but I'm going to still use it. So this is the number 1 in the corner. He's Aries, so that represents 1. Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. And this is Taurus, 2. This is Gemini, 3. This is Cancer, 4. This is Leo, 5. Virgo, 6. Libra, 7. Scorpio, 8. Sagittarius, 9. Aquarius is 10. Capricorn is 10. Aquarius, 11. Pisces is 12. So these houses actually have signs, constellations within them. Does that make sense? So if he was a Cancer rising, his first house would have a 4 here, and then it would go 5, 6, 7, 8, like that around in the circle, and that all brings meaning to the chart. So his first house represents something. All of our first houses represent something. It actually represents the head, and we'll go over that, you know, about what the houses represent. And then the signs represent something. So Aries has its own thing, and it's a lord of Aries is Mars, and that gives us a lot of information. So where's the lord of this this ascendant falls in his 8th house, Mars, and that's the lord of his first house, but it fell into his 8th house, sitting there in his natal chart. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that there would only be like one, you know, constellation or whatever per diamond.
Yeah. So
like in the first house, there wouldn't be like 2 or 3. Like it's just sequentially 1 in each diamond, right?
Exactly. So there's one sign in each diamond, but there's several several planets, potentially like 3 in his 10th house.
Right.
But that's his 10th house of Capricorn. That's just one sign in the 10th house. The 10th house is written here on the side, periphery, and it's also, since he has a natural chart, it's also the same sign, constellation, and he has 3 planets in that 10th house of Capricorn. Do you understand that now? A little better?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, good. You're welcome. Any other questions before we move on from the 4 aims of life?
Can you just say the 12 signs in order, what numbers they are again?
Karen, you want me to type them in the chat box?
Sure, that would be great. So Kim will just type the numbers for each sign. That's important.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, so let's move on. Unless there's one more question, let's just take one more question. Because that was a lot of information. Okay. All right, so I'm going to close that out. And we're going to open up our syllabus. What is our next thing to talk about? Okay, we have the limbs of Jyotish. This is all very interesting to me. We have Gola, which is the principles of observational astronomy. Ganita, which is astronomical and astrological calculations. We have Jataka, which is the natal astrology, which is what I do mostly. And then Prasna is astrology questions, which is really fun because you know how you can do tarot cards? You can ask a question and pull a card, or a fairy card, or whatever you do, angel cards, or you can do that with your astrological system. You can pull a chart for the question for that moment, and that chart will have an answer to that question. It's pretty powerful, pretty accurate. And then a Muhurta is electional astrology, and this is when you want to, pick a right wedding date or an auspicious, time to begin. For me, when I chose this school, I chose to start on an auspicious day, so I did a Muhurta on it and looked at what was going on this day as far as the planets. Some people will, if they're going to get a surgery, they'll have their Jyotish do a Muhurta on which day they should have their surgery, which will be the most fortunate day for the surgery. That would be called Muhurta. And then Nimitta are omens, and I love this omen thing. This is so cool. If you ever want to learn about omenology, Robert Svoboda has some really cool lectures that are at the Ayurvedic Institute. I think you can buy them, actually, or read some of his books on omenology. Some Jyotishis just use omenology. Everything around us at this moment is telling us a message. All the signs, like I remember I was walking in, for an example, this is an omen, example of an omen that is sort of like an oracle or prediction for how to make a decision. I had somebody who wanted to trade with me on continuing education. She was going to paint my porch. And I just got this really funny feeling about her. This wasn't right. Something was going to go funky. There wasn't a lot of clarity in the conversation. And I was walking outside in the woods, and as soon as we started talking, my feet got stuck in the mud. And I realized, I looked down, and I was just up to my ankles in mud, and I kept trying to get through it, kept walking and talking to her and getting that feeling, not really connecting it to the mud. And then after I got out of the mud, I started realizing that that was an omen and that I shouldn't do this trade with her. And I was right, because I found out 6 months later she just wasn't there. She just didn't have all her marbles in her head, and she did something like that with somebody else, and it just went really, it turned out sour. So that was an omen. So if you can live your life constantly in awareness of what's going on around you at every moment, you can make really conscious choices. Okay, so let's move on from that. Planetary mantras for health. I'd like to review these. These are really powerful. We'll say them together, okay? So open up your planetary mantra handout. I've got mine here, and the word Shri, it is has an affinity for the earth or for the physiology of the body. So when you're doing a mantra for a planet, if that planet is affecting your physiology and you want to propitiate that planet or make friends with that planet, or however you want to say it, sometimes people say the planet smiles down upon me. You want that planet to smile at you and not be an enemy. Then we would do a mantra to that planet. And let's look at the sun. And if we wanted the sun to help us with our physical body, say, for example, the sun rules the heart. somebody's having heart trouble, so they would say a sun mantra, or digestion. So let's say it together, everybody. Let's just unmute yourselves, if you don't mind, so I can hear you. I'm going to unmute you all, and we're just going to have a little mantra experience together. And so you'll learn how to say these names of the planets properly. I'm unmuting you, Jerry. Renee. Unmute Michelle. Can I unmute you, Michelle?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so let's do this all together. So the Sanskrit word for sun is Surya. Surya. So we're going to say Om Shri Suryaya Namaha. So let's say that together slowly. Om Shri Suryaya Namaha. And so that is the sun, which represents Sunday, which is it's funny, in Fairfield, everybody is into Jyotish and Ayurveda in Fairfield, Iowa, and people would literally walk around the town dressed in the color of the day. And one crazy guy just used to wear a suit, like all red on Sunday. You'd see him walking around in his safety suit. So the color red, represents the sun, and it propitiates the sun, and it makes the sun happy. The sun smiles down upon you if you wear red on Sunday. So if you want to make the sun really, really happy, you would say Om Shri Suryaya Namaha 108 times per day, starting on a Sunday for 40 days straight. And this is a really powerful way to do mantra, which to fix or remedy a weak planet or an enemy planet or a planet that's causing an affliction in your chart. You can reverse it by mantra. So anyone have a question about that in particular, the sun?
So if you said that mantra for 108 times per day, will it help the heart and digestion too?
Yes, because the sun rules the heart and it rules digestion, actually, and many more things, the small intestines, and other things too. But it is the soul. The sun rules the soul of the chart. So if you look at where your sun is placed, and there's so much to tell about. That's like level 3, level 4 of Jyotish. But the sun, if it's debilitated or afflicted, that would tell you that there would be a predisposition to digestive disorders or heart attack or weak heart or things like that. So then you would choose to do this sun mantra to strengthen it. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Also, strengthen a weak planet. You're saying it would strengthen a weak planet if it's in a weakened state or a weakened house?
Yes, if the planet's in a weak house or if it's in a house with an enemy, because some of the planets are enemies with each other. It's like living in the house with, a roommate that's your enemy. You're not going to fare very well. You're going to be miserable. And so that's not going to support your chart in that way. So your heart might, if it's your sun that's in a house that's troubled with an enemy, for example, then you could have a predisposition to tachycardia or some sort of heart issue. Does that answer your question? Good.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's move on to the moon. So we'll say the Sanskrit word for moon is Chandra. Chandra. So everyone together. Om Shri Chandraya Namaha. Om Shri Chandraya Namaha. So let me hear you all say it. Will you say it again?
Om Shri
Namaha. Excellent. Okay, good. All right. So that's the color white. If you wear white on a Monday, then you strengthen the moon in your chart. And moving on to Mars, this is a tricky one. It's
I have a question.
Yeah.
If the soul is the sun, what is the moon?
The moon is mother. The moon is the mind. Moon represents mind.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the sun also represents the physiology to some degree, just so you know. Okay, so
Karen, I have a quick question about this, about like chanting the mantras in general.
Yeah.
Would there be a time when it would be kind of a bad idea to do a mantra to a certain planet, like if it's malefic in your chart or something? Or I've heard kind of the theory that you're going to like attract more attention to yourself from it, and that maybe you just kind of want to stay under the radar with certain planets.
That's a really good question that I have been perplexed with, but I've talked to my teachers, David Hawthorne and Penny, and a couple other people, Richard. Everybody has their own view on that, but most people agree that planetary mantra cannot hurt. It doesn't hurt a planet. It actually, it's vibration, so it doesn't really do anything bad, but a gemstone would. So if you wore a gemstone for, let's say, Mars, you were trying to fix your Mars, but your Mars was malefic. So your Mars was a troublemaker. Your Mars was causing you adversity. That would actually wake up the sleeping tiger of Mars. So you wouldn't want to wear a gemstone for Mars. But the actual mantra, it sort of supersedes the whole idea of the gemstone causing trouble. So I've heard that if you have a malefic, that it would be good to do the mantra. It's the only remedy that actually would be okay to do and actually help for a malefic. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, moving on to Mars, Mangala. So, or some people say Mongol, and you could say Mongol or you could say Mangala. And I think that actually that second A should be an O. That's a typo. So it's M-A-N-G-O. So if you want to fix that, you can on your, if you have it printed out. It should be an O. So Mongol. And let's say that together. Om Shri Angarakaya Namaha. Om Shri Angarakaya Namaha. Om Shri Angarakaya Namaha. And that starts Om Shri Angarakaya Namaha. Yeah, good. And that's orange. That color makes Mars happy, orange. All right, so Mercury is Bud, or some people say Buddha, or Bud. I see most Jyotish just calling it Bud. And that would be Om Buddhaya Namaha. So everyone together, Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. And now we're moving on to Jupiter, which Sanskrit means guru. And it pronounced really is guru, guru. It's like has a D there, guru, guru. So Om Shri Gurudev, kind of like Gurudev, Gurudev Namaha. So Om Shri Gurudev Namaha. Everyone, yeah. Gurudev Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Namaha. And some people say Gurudev too. So Om Shri Gurudev Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Namaha. You can also say Om Shri Ganapate Namaha. Ganapate is like a baby Ganesha, which is the deity of Guru, of Jupiter. And that's yellow and gold. That's why yellow and gold is so auspicious in the Vedic literature. That to paint your walls gold and wear the color gold and yellow. Guru Jupiter is the most auspicious, most abundant, most divine, blessed planet in the galaxy. Okay, so moving on to Venus, it's Shukra. Sort of is male chauvinistic a little because Shukra represents the male reproductive tissue. And have Artava, really like to propitiate Artava, which is the female reproductive tissue, but they use Shukra, so we're going to go with the tradition, but just to point it out to you all that Shukra is really the male Artava, and Venus is really a feminine planet, so it doesn't make any sense to me that they would have the male tissue on a feminine planet, but that's what the traditional text says. So Om Shri Shukraya Namaha. Om Shri Shukraya Namaha.
Om Shri Shukraya Namaha.
Good. Om Shri Shukraya Namaha. So if you had mala beads, do I have mala beads here? Like these, I have these are my bracelet mala beads, but if you have mala beads like this that you wear around your neck, you don't have to wear them around your neck. I keep them hanging on my bedpost, and you can do your mantras directly on your beads, just like you would a rosary. So you could say Om Shri Gurudev Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Namaha, Om Shri. So that you would do 108, and it would take you really 2 or 3 minutes to do it. And it would just shift the whole vibrational grid around your body so that Jupiter, if you said Om Shri Gurudev Namaha, Jupiter would recognize and hear you, it would be familiar, and that would open a portal for Jupiter to come in and smile down upon you. So it's literally a vibrational grid around the body that you're creating when you do mantra. And the reason 108 is because there's 108 pathways in the heart. And we're like a computer, really, our bodies, and we just need to reprogram all the core beliefs and all the karmas and samskaras in our chart that don't support our happiness. So to reprogram, we need to say a different vibration 108 times to just mitigate all the 108 pathways in the heart that we're entertaining core beliefs that were non-supportive. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Saturn is Shani. So this one's a mouthful. Om Shri Shaneshwaraya Swaha. Om Shri Shaneshwaraya Swaha. So everybody want to try that? Om Shri Shaneshwaraya Namaha. Yes. Shaneshwaraya Namaha or Swaha if you're under. Yeah, let me hear you all say that, because Saturn's a pretty important one. Om Shri Shaneshwaraya Swaha or Namaha, because we're all over 29, so we should be saying Namaha. Okay. Shaneshwaraya Namaha. Okay. Excellent. That's blue and black. Colors of Saturn are blue and black. So let's look at the nodes of the moon. And
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying this is very important. So if Saturn is so important, why would we only do it for 40 consecutive days versus 108 per day on the other planets? If you're doing
I might have done a typo. 108 times per day. No, that's...
And on Saturday.
They're all 40 days.
They're all 40 days, and they're all 108 times per day. So I'm confused about your question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misread it. Why is Saturn so much more important, though? Is it because it's a malevolent planet?
Yeah. It's a malefic, but, in some forms of astrology, like the systems approach, which I've studied, and I really like the systems approach. Not everybody's Saturn is malefic, so that's a whole nother, class. But
that'd be level 3 or level 4 training.
Yeah, I might offer that. Yeah, this is sort of just to give you an introductory taste of what Jyotish is. So, not to make you a Jyotish in one day, but just an introductory. But I'll offer more classes on that. But Saturn is the teacher, the great teacher, and it gives us our hardest lesson. So it is the Saturn, it is the planet that sort of brings the burden in your life. Whatever is your burden, it's usually ruled by Saturn. So it comes to teach us lessons, and it also is known as the teacher.
The karmic teacher?
Yes, karmic teacher. Yeah, and it's about law and order, and it puts people in categories of you didn't do good or you did good. It's very much about structure
black
and
white.
Yeah, black and
white.
That's
black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Excuse I have Saturn in my 8th house, so that would be Saturn in my moksha. Would that mean it's going to be more difficult for me to attain liberation?
Not necessarily. It may mean that your career is going to help you with your liberation because Saturn rules career. So it rules the 10th house. So the 10th house of career is governed by Saturn, and you might find your liberation through your career. That's what it could mean. It could mean many things.
That sounds more reasonable.
It tells a whole story. Your chart will just tell a whole story, so that's just pulling out one piece of your story. I'd need the whole context of your chart to give you a full answer, but there's just a possibility that Saturn is going to be your path to liberation. Your career will be.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So moving on to the nodes of the moon. This is the north and south poles of the moon. This is really the serpent. And Rahu is the head of the serpent, and Ketu is the tail of the serpent. And everybody has Rahu and Ketu in their charts, and it's signified as RA, and Ketu is KE. And they are also like Saturn in a way. They cause trouble. They're there to shake us up a little, and for us to learn, to learn from wherever your Rahu and Ketu are in your chart are going to be fields of living that will be slightly challenged. So when I look at somebody's chart and I want to figure out, well, what's this person challenged by? What is the adversity in this person's life? I can see, a lot by looking at where Rahu and Ketu are positioned, and they're always positioned across from each other. So on one side of the chart, there are 7 houses exactly from the other side. So let's say it together. Om Shri Rahuve Namaha. Om Shri Rahuve Namaha. Om Shri Rahuve Namaha. And Om Shri Ketuve Namaha. Om Shri Ketuve Namaha. Om Shri Ketuve Namaha. And really, the serpent, the nodes of the moon will really help some people attain moksha, so liberation through adversities. So we want to make peace with this serpent, and we want to be grateful for the challenges in our life so that we can rise above them. So I don't look at Rahu and Ketu as this big monster serpent that's coming here to cause people trouble. It really is for a purpose, so that we can learn to rise above the adversity. So through kindness and forgiveness and all those things, we can really learn to rise above those things and thank Rahu, or thank whatever it is. Like, for example, my mother has challenge with her brother. She and her brother have been enemies her whole life, and she is so deeply saddened. I mean, it just has really caused her so many wounds in her heart. She's not invited there for Christmas. So I looked at her chart and I saw that she had Ketu in the 3rd house of siblings. The 3rd house represents siblings. So her brother is her Ketu. And she feels like she lost her brother, basically, and she lost her whole family because of him. And Ketu is what takes things away. It is the planet of loss. So it's loss through taking away what you don't really need, and understanding that you don't really need that, and it's okay. And it's almost like renunciation. If you renounce something that you're attached to, it's a lesson in attachment. So she's had to learn how to not be attached to what a brother is supposed to be, like the fairy tale script of what is a brother to you. She's had to learn to forgive him and understand that, people have different types of brothers, and you just have to accept the kind of brother that you have and move on and get on with your life and rise above it with love and kindness. So if you look at where your Ketu is, and your Rahu, we can kind of understand, if we understand the houses, which we're going to do shortly, then we'll, actually we're almost done, so we can't do that today. We'll do it tomorrow or Friday. So we'll be able to figure out with the meanings of the houses, like I said, her house of the 3rd house of siblings, that's where her trouble is. We'll find out what the meanings of the houses are, and then you can say, oh, wow, no wonder I've had trouble in this house, because Rahu and Ketu live there. Okay, so we did that. Let's close that out. Any questions on the planetary mantras?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If we're not supposed to wear the gemstone, are we supposed to wear the color? Is that also going to bring attention?
Good question. Yeah, so yeah, not to wear the color or the gemstone. For example, I have Mercury is one of my malefics, and I don't like to wear green. I gave all my green clothes to my friend who has an exalted Mercury. So she's got all my favorite green clothes, and I had an emerald that I loved, this little tiny ring and I gave that to another friend, and so I just, give away all my green stuff, and I try not to eat too many green foods, even though green is good for you on some level. I struggle with that whole thing with green foods, but yeah, green pillows. I don't have green wallpaper. I just stay away from the malefic colors and gemstones. Does that answer your question?
Well, one of mine is white, so that kind of poses a bit of a problem.
What's your ascendant?
Virgo.
And so why do you, is the moon a malefic?
It says the dignity says enemy. I have a different chart than you guys do.
Oh, I don't think that moon is your malefic. I'm using systems approach, and I'm going to give everybody their malefics, and then we're going to close out. So because I think this is important to know your malefics. So hold on one second. Malefics. Here they are. So you're a Virgo, Amber, ascendant? Did you say you were a Virgo, Amber? Renee. Or was that Renee?
It's Renee.
Renee was, yeah.
Okay, Virgo has Saturn, Mars, and the Sun as malefics. And of course, Rahu and Ketu are everybody's malefic, but specifically Virgo struggles with Saturn, Mars, and Sun. So let me go over this. Write this down, or just write your own down. Once you hear your rising sign, you can write your malefics down. So Aries has Mercury as a malefic. Taurus has Jupiter and Venus and Mars, a lot. Taurus has 3 malefics, so Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. Gemini has no malefics, so only Rahu and Ketu, so that's lucky. And Cancer has Jupiter and Saturn as a malefic. Leo has the moon as a malefic. And Virgo has Saturn, Mars, and Sun as malefic. Libra has Mercury as malefic. Scorpio has Mars and Venus. Sagittarius is moon. Capricorn is Sun and Jupiter. And Aquarius is moon and Mercury. And Pisces is Sun, Venus, and Saturn. Sun, Venus, and Saturn. So if anyone wrote all those down, you know what? I'm just going to copy and paste this right now and put it in the chat.
Did you make more of those?
Want some more?
Okay, so there it is, right in front of you all, what your malefics are depending on your lagna, your rising sign. Any questions about your malefic planets? No? It's a lot to absorb, I know.
Karen, I do have a question about Saturn and the mantra.
Okay.
You said if we're over 29 that we should be using the Namaha, so that means that we should be doing the second mantra in the Saturn that you have printed here?
Yes, so using Namaha after age 29. This Swaha for children.
A little more, why is it that over 29 you have to do that one instead?
You know, the only thing I know about that is that Saturn doesn't really take effect in our lives until later in our lives. It is the planet of old age. It's the planet. Right. Yeah. So you might have Saturn.
Well, in Western, we visited in 30 and 60, so that makes total sense. Okay.
Okay, so you get it. Yes, Saturn doesn't really take big effect until later in life because it governs old age. It governs Vata. It's a Vata planet. It is the Vata planet. Okay, you're welcome. so just look at your charts tonight and look at where your Rahu and Ketus are. Look at where your malefic planets are, what houses they live in, and look at where your moksha, dharma, artha, and sama, and understand, so you can start to understand a little bit about yourself, and then look at your lagna, which is your ascendant. So that, if you're not, like, I had to really look at Aries and read about Aries, and did it really fit me? And it ended up fitting me very well, more than Sagittarian and Western. So as a takeaway from the class, those are the 3 main points I want you to just get familiar with: your lagna, your malefics, and those 4 aims of life, and if they fit you. And then we'll talk more about the houses so you can understand your malefic planets and why they're sitting in those houses and how that will affect your life, your challenges, and your gifts. Okay, so let's do our closing chant. Kim, if you want to join me, or anyone that knows this chant, feel free. Devi Shrueshwari Bhagavati Gange Tribhuvana Tarini Tarala Tarange Shankara Moli Diharini Vimale Mama Matirastam Tava Pada Kamale Bhagirati Sukatayini Mata Tava Jyotima Kiata Naham Janem Tava Mahimanam Trahi Kripa Mahimama Jananam. Thank you, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. See you Friday at 2 o'clock. Bye.
So good seeing you, Karen. Miss you.
Oh, good seeing you too. I've missed you too. So good to see your smiling face.
Big kisses.
Big kisses to you too. Bye.
Bye, sweetie.